So this is Vegas. This was my first pick for the Extreme Mustang Makeover, the Player's Choice. Um, Here I'm going to show you the first 10 days or so with him on this video. This was my first little morning with him after getting him home and his first time checking me out. Um, Vegas is a 5-year-old from Wild Horse Range, Nevada. And nice little horse, 14 hands. This was my first session the next day after bringing him home, after the coffee morning. I'm riding Poker Chip, who was my last year's Player's Choice horse, and we ended up 12th place overall. And Vegas was kind of interesting. We have another round pen that was a little bit shorter, and he decided to jump out. Luckily, he jumped into the alleyway and ended up going back to his pen. But the second time I tried to work him from horseback, I made sure that I had a lead rope on him. He actually let me get that on fairly easily from the ground. So I just wanted to get a little bit stronger. I was having some ankle issues in the beginning of this, and I just didn't want to be drug around too bad. So that's the reason I wanted to use a horse, was just to be a little bit stronger for this. And here I am, just getting closer to him and letting him know that people up on horses is not that bad. Like I said, he was so scared he jumped out of the round pen the first time I tried this. So I'm just petting on him here. So now we're going to go into day 2 with Vegas, and I did some groundwork, and earlier in the day I had worked him from horseback and got some of his kind of explosive behavior out of him. I roped him around his belly and got the rope all around his legs, and got him to really pay attention to my horse and me. He was kind of blowing me off a little bit in the beginning, so getting him to face up anytime he would run off, I would put some tension on the rope, and he decided to pay attention to me a little bit better. So on day 3, I wanted to lay him down just to build up some more trust and get him to kind of give to me better. And it took me quite a bit to get him down. Or actually, I got him down fairly easily, but I couldn't get up to him very easily. This is actually the first time I finally did get up to him. And then he does jump up when I touch his neck here. And he actually switched his sides. And then he lets me rub on him on the other side. So it kind of worked out in my favor a little bit. Ultimately, I don't want them to get up until I ask them to get up. On any of my lay down sessions, I want them to wait on me. So here I'm going to just walk around him and ask him to lay back over. And he actually did okay with this. And then I was able to get up to him on this side. And I like to lay down most of my Mustangs for sure, just kind of build up that trust. And so here's just a picture of us. And then another one of us practicing haltering, and then I got a fly mask on him, so I was just kind of working around his head. He was very good with his head. He wasn't very head shy or anything like that, which was nice. This is his first bath, so he got pretty sweaty when I laid him down because he was stressed out a little bit about it. So I like to rinse them if they are really sweaty and just make them feel better. I don't like to leave a lot of sweat on horses in the summer. I actually rinse my horses down almost every day. And this day it was pretty hot, probably 80, 90 degrees. So then at the end of the day, I was able to put a little fly sheet on him, a little thing to get him used to wearing clothes, because I wanted to prepare him for saddling. So this is day 6, and this is the day that I decided to saddle him. This is me just preparing him for that saddle by using a tarp. So I get him used to that, just kind of flapping around him. It's nice and lightweight, so I'm able to, rub him, and the sound sometimes just spooks him. And then I also ask him to go over the tarp. This is just kind of in the beginning of the session where I was asking him to go over it. And I had it off the fence a little bit just so he could go between it and the fence to build his confidence. And he did really well with both of these exercises, with all of these exercises that I did this day. So there he's checking it out. So I take him away and make him work at the other half of the round pen. This video is sped up, so it does look like I'm kind of getting after him, but I was actually just kind of whipping the ground here. So now I moved on to the raincoat. Another thing I just like to desensitize them with. Anything and everything you kind of find to desensitize your horses to is great. This is just another good preparation for the saddle. So we're going to move on to the surcingle next. And that's something that I learned watching The Road to the Horse this year. It's actually made out of 2 girths, or cinches. I've got actually 2 pony cinches because most of these Mustangs I got were pretty tiny. And then it has a latigo on it and an off billet. And so it has the same feel of a cinch, and I have to actually do it up like a cinch, and I can get it pretty tight on them. So I like to make sure they're good with that before I go into the saddle. So this process just breaks it down quite a bit for them. I used to just put the saddle on. I wouldn't even do the tarping or anything like that. But now I totally break it down to tarps, raincoats, surcingle, and then I do the surcingle with the pad. And now you'll see me, I still have the surcingle on there, but I just want to get him used to me putting the saddle on him. And I have the stirrup up. It just makes it easier to get it on. I use lightweight saddles this first saddling. This is a little barrel saddle. I also have some neoprene saddles that I like to use. Just something to easily, if the horse moves around a lot, it's not something that's going to wear me out completely. So I just kind of get him used to that feeling of me putting it up there. And then when he's good with that, I take the surcingle off and actually cinch up the saddle, put on the saddle and cinch it up. So when I first ask him to move off with the saddle on, I'm just going to ask him to go off nice and easy. And then I'm just going to disengage his hindquarters both directions. I'm not going to send him into a big old trot or lope right away. I'm just going to ask him to disengage there. After saddling in the round pen, I like to kick them into the arena and let them wear the saddle for a lot of the day. So here he is. Actually, all these horses are Player's Choice horses. And I let them run around, and we'll chase them around with a horse or a four-wheeler. Just get them moving, get them feeling that saddle and being able to move their shoulders and everything. In the round pen, I just don't feel like they can move around enough. So this is just a great thing to do with them. So this is day 7. This is the day after the first saddling, so we're on the first ride. And Vegas was so good for his first ride. He just felt so confident and relaxed. Really did well with this. And just felt really awesome. Wasn't scared of me up there at all. So here's day 9. I had worked on this obstacle with him on the fence, and he was getting pretty good at pushing it by day 9. So that was kind of neat. And then we're going to go into day 10 here, where I was riding him around quite a bit. Now on day 10, by about day 7, when I started working Vegas in the arena on the ground, I noticed some issues coming up. You're going to see how well he was doing. But the issues that I was having was, his hind end was dropping out every once in a while on the lunge line. I don't have a lot on video, but you will see it here in a little bit. And uh, when I would lead him up to the round pen or the hitching rail, I noticed like his feet would just pop, his hind end. And my girlfriend thought that it was his feet were a little long and that he was clicking his back feet to his front feet. But after further examining, we noticed that he was actually both his hind pasterns were popping. The right hind way worse than the other one, but they both were doing this. And when I was riding him, sometimes he would just his back end would just give out. And I'm going to show you some video clips of this. Right near, I'm going to let you watch the Pasterns. And I want you to listen to the sound. This side is popping. So, and here's some video clips of it happening. Happened right there. And then it happens again. So I had to make a decision. I didn't know what to do. This is by far my better horse. I have two horses. There he dropped out again. So I called Stormy, and I kind of discussed with him, and really, this showing up on day 10 really worried me. Right here, he really drops out bad, and we discussed it, and it was just, it seemed like it was probably going to get worse with more work. So the best option for me was to get a replacement horse. And here is when I went back to Oklahoma. This is some of the geldings I looked at, and you can probably guess which one I had my eye on. And just flashiness, I picked this gray gelding. His name, I've decided to name him Rip Wheeler off of Yellowstone. And he was pretty worked up. All the geldings were actually really worked up. The mares were super quiet when I was down there looking at them, but he was definitely really worried about us and really bad in the chute. He was rearing up and going crazy. So stay tuned for some updates on Rip because he's going to be very cool. Right now he's very wild. He doesn't know it yet that he's going to be really, really cool. So I'm pretty excited about him, but like I said, go ahead and follow us on YouTube, Rock Horses, so you can watch videos of Rip. Thank you.